Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan and it's time for our Game Week 35 episode of the 100 Experts, where we're going to see what all of the top FPL managers are doing this week in terms of chips, transfers and captaincy too. So guys, if you enjoy this one, make sure you drop a like, do subscribe if you're new around here. Let's get started. So first of all, a massive thank you to all of the 100 top FPL managers who helped us out this week by providing their data ahead of this game week. Massive shout out to everyone mentioned on screen right now. Make sure you go check them out because we do really appreciate and love them for what they do for this series. Let's see what they're doing this week. So looking at the general stats here, 36% of our managers are making one transfer this week, up to 20% making two transfers this week. So quite a lot looking to make multiple transfers, and actually we're seeing a lot of hits being taken this week as well, which may prove valuable with double game weeks ahead. 7% are making 3 or more transfers. In fact, one person is actually making 5 transfers this game week, taking a -12, I believe, with 2 free transfers and a -12. Absolutely crazy stuff. But during this transitional time in FPL, where the kind of double game weeks from game week 34 are so different to those in 35 and 37, big changes are going to need to be made ahead of this game week. We've in fact got 31% using the wild card this week. This is the last big week for the wild card. Every week after that, I'm not really expecting to see many wild card numbers at all. However, we will be exploring at the end of this video a bonus question which sees what chips our experts have remaining, and we'll see if anyone has their wildcard left to use in the final 3 game weeks of the season. But a lot of people using the wildcard this week, although I have to say at 31%, it's a little bit lower than I was expecting. So if you are on a wildcard this week, you might find yourself at a bit of an advantage this week for the final parts of the season, even if game week 34 maybe didn't quite go your way. But what we will see here, guys, today is a lot of great information of the top players to pick on your wildcard, so stay tuned for that. And we've also got 6% not making a transfer at all this week. 6% is pretty low for the transfer rollers, so in general it does seem like it will be a game week for making transfers. Make as many as you need, take hits if you need to, and if you have a wild card, now is probably the time to use it. You either use it or you lose it, and we haven't got too many game weeks left to take advantage of that big chip. Looking at the most popular Game Week 35 transfers in the world, we see that Isak is coming out on top ahead of his home fixture against Sheffield United. 156,000 transfers in for him at time of recording, and I think he's going to maintain that position as the #1 transfer in the world for this game week. We're going to see if our experts agree with that very shortly, but we've also got Son and Gordon over 100 transfers in for them as well. After that, the likes of Cher, Nicholas Jackson making up the top 5, and there's a few other players in here that you might be considering as well. But what we want to see is, do our experts agree with the overall transfer trends? And today, actually, there is a little bit more consistency between the experts and the overall player base, as we see Isak, Son, Gordon, Cher, Jackson and Fernandes all seeing a decent amount of interest among our transfer making experts this game week. However, there are a few players on this list where our experts just are not interested in these players whatsoever. Some of them may surprise you a little bit, but let's go through them anyway. Watkins, once again, with no double game weeks for the rest of the season. No one's looking to bring him in, and I know not many of our experts own Watkins anyway. Similar situation with Gusto. I think he's a little bit more popular among our experts' current teams, but no one looking to bring him in as a new pick. And I think that's partially due to injury concerns around Gusto. Was unavailable for the Arsenal game, and going forward, it looks like he's probably not going to be able to play multiple games per game week. So in many ways, despite being technically a double game week player, is he going to be more like a single game week player for this game week? I think there's definitely a possibility of that. Of course, Palmer is also flagged, but with illness, he's probably going to be back a little bit sooner than Gusto, and there is not too many transfers in for Palmer necessarily, but pretty much all of our experts own him anyway, and there is still a few people bringing him in. And Onana's the final player on this list where our experts just do not seem to be interested in this player whatsoever. So there is a lot of trends, there's a lot of balance here with Isak, Son, Gordon, etc. being very popular among our experts, but Watkins, Gusto and Onana, well, our experts just are not interested in these players whatsoever right now. Before we go any further, I'd love to share with you the latest FPL merch we are making over at fanprints.uk. Now, we have recently dropped a new collection of t-shirts and mugs designed as mini league prizes or forfeits, or just a general way to show your love for the game. Now, my personal favorites are the hungover mug and the I hate FPL t-shirt with that red arrow, and who can forget the classic captain mug as well, which is also available in black if you prefer it that way. Fanprints are shipping worldwide, so nobody misses out. We already have happy customers in all countries all over the world, and FPL Mate viewers can get an exclusive 20% discount on all purchases by using code FPL Mate, all one word, at the checkout. So check out fanprints.uk by clicking the link in the description or pinned comment. It's the best way to support this YouTube channel, and you'll get something awesome in return. So unlike in FPL, everyone wins. Let's get back to the video. Looking at the most popular transfers out among our 63 transfer-making experts this game week, and we see an injured man at the top of the pile here. A doggy with 21 transfers out for him. He's been ruled out pretty much for the rest of the season, so it's looking unlikely that he'll feature again in this 2023-24 season. So it's very, very obvious to transfer him out. A lot of the reason people picked up a doggy was for his 2 double game weeks between now and the end of the season. But since we're not going to be able to take advantage of them, it seems like a good idea to simply remove him from our FPL squad. So an easy sell for anyone who does own him. Of course, we will be looking at the best defender replacements in a brief moment. Saka is the second most popular transfer out, with people looking to make some midfield switches. I know a lot of people have asked this week, who should we transfer out? Should it be Saka? Should it be Salah? Maybe it should be Eberechi Eze, for example, as well. But the majority seem to be removing Saka as a priority. Salah maybe being kept by a few more people. Darwin is the next person being transferred out, along with Luis Diaz. So we've seen a few Liverpool players in and around here. Tony is obviously going to be a popular transfer out. Solanke, yeah, definitely a player that could be sold if you've got other forwards in mind. I know there's one forward I'm sure you guys would love to see in your FPL teams right now. Bradley with his injury, and of course Eze completing the list of most popular transfers out this week. So it's going to be a case of removing those injured players like Udogie and Bradley, removing potentially some Liverpool players as well, and Saka maybe not providing too much value for money at the moment. Could be another player to make way in order to bring in new midfield blood into your squads. And speaking of those new midfielders, Gordon, yes, Anthony Gordon is top of the pile for transfers in 18 transfers for among our experts, bringing in Gordon ahead of this fixture against Sheffield United, with Isak here in second place. So actually, a couple of single game week players actually topping the list for transfers this week. Gordon and Isak, definitely a Newcastle duo you want to think about owning ahead of this game week. They're in much better form than they have been previously, and we know Gordon's home form has just been absolutely insane this season. So can he go again with some more points in these big home matches, particularly in a very favourable fixture? Isak, despite Wilson coming back to fitness now, Isak's still expected to start the majority of games for the rest of the season, and on penalties as well, in fantastic form. Great underlying numbers, definitely a great pick as well. Heung-min Son completing the top 3 there. All 3 of these players really, really popular. So definitely these 3 are probably the top transfer targets of the game week. A lot of people sold Son last game week because he blanked, but now looking to bring him in ahead of the double game week. Another double game week player here in Pedro Porro. 9 transfers in for him, 9 for Fabian Schär. We've got 5 for Burn as well, so we've got a couple of Newcastle defenders coming in. I guess Pedro Porro, yes, technically he is the joint most popular defender to bring in this game week, but when you combine the numbers of Fabian Schär and Dan Burn, it's actually a Newcastle defender that seems to be the slight priority buy this week, no matter which direction you choose to go in. Nicholas Jackson, an unpopular one in the comments section, but he has got some significant popularity here with 8 transfers in for him among those experts who are not even on a wild card. So pretty interesting there. And Fernandez and a Johnson differential maybe at the bottom there as well. Lots of different options for us this week, guys, but it seems to be all about Newcastle, Spurs, and a bit of Chelsea there as well. A little tiny bit of Manchester United. They're playing Burnley this week. Off the back of that, we can suggest some transfers. Saka or Salah to Gordon, I think makes a lot of sense. Frees up a lot of budget as well if you want to upgrade other areas of your team. Particularly if you're targeting a bench boost in Game Week 37, you probably are going to have to make some downgrades in your starting 11 in order to upgrade other areas of your field. And that's exactly what we seem to see happening right now. So Saka, Salah being removed, Gordon being brought in. It's a really, really straightforward and popular transfer this week. However, if you haven't got Son, maybe a Saka or a Salah to Son could work very nicely as well. That's definitely a possibility for you guys. Isak is also a player you really want to get into your team. Darwin is an obvious transfer out, as is Solanke and Tony. So if you have one of those forwards, you can move them very easily to Isak. You're probably going to have the budget in order to do so as well, particularly if you're downgrading in other areas of your pitch. And if you're looking for a new defender to replace Udogie in your starting 11, Pedro Porro and Fabian Schär seem to be the most popular picks. But I can definitely say, guys, that if you are on on a wild card, for example, players like Gordon, players like Son, Isak, Petro Porosher, judging by the huge amount of transfers in and for these players, there's definitely appeal to bring them in if you're on a wild card right now as well. And one more note on transfers before we go ahead and look at captaincies and chips. I should say that Haaland, unfortunately, he has been ruled out for tomorrow's game in Game Week 34 against Brighton, but apparently the injury is not long-term, which is why we're not seeing many experts looking to remove Haaland. In fact, from the numbers, the stats we saw today, I don't know about the wildcarders. I haven't looked at all of the wildcard drafts we received, but among transfer-making experts, nobody is removing Haaland. Everyone is keeping him among people who already have him, at least. Although some people would have already sold him in previous game weeks, obviously, but yeah, no one looking to sell Haaland as a new transfer out this game week. So yeah, he is going to be out for the Brighton game. It doesn't look like he's going to be out for the long term, though. So that is positive news on him. If you have a decent bench, and hopefully you will as you look towards a bench boost in 37, if you are looking towards a bench boost in 37, then you're hopefully going to be able to cover Haaland for the 1 or 2 game weeks where he is out, and if maybe he's even back in game week 35. We're not exactly sure yet. I guess it remains to be seen, but yeah, Haaland, not really a player. Experts are transferring out, and I don't think there's anything else to cover among transfers, but if there is, let me know in the comments. Right, captaincy for Game Week 35, and yeah, Cole Palmer leading the line here, 78%. He is by far the most popular captain for Game Week 35. Pretty straightforward, Aston Villa and Spurs, some nice fixtures for an attacking point of view, and hopefully Chelsea might see some improvement from the Arsenal result with Palmer coming back into their starting 11. Penalties, assists, taking shots from all over the place, getting involved inside the box. We know Palmer has been a great FPL asset this season, even if he did disappoint a few people in Game Week 34. But Game Week 35 is a new game week, and with a double game week, it is a completely different scenario. So he's going to be back on all of in all of the squads of the experts, and certainly captained by a lot of people as well. Heung-min Son, if Palmer is still ill, and like I say, I don't think Palmer will still be ill by the time we get to the double game week, but if he is, Son, nice backup there, 19% captaincy for him. He plays against Arsenal, a fixture he does typically thrive in, and Chelsea, a team that we know are, you know, sometimes capable of conceding a few goals as they did against Arsenal. But it's not just the double game week players getting some love, because we've got a couple of differential captainers here. Isak on 2%, Gordon on 1%, both players playing Sheffield United at home. Do you dare go against the double game week legends of Palmer and Son? That's going to be up to you, but if you are, then maybe a Newcastle attacker against Sheffield United could be the solution. But certainly Palmer and Son, what an insane numbers and opportunities we have with these players. And in fact, we have also got 3% using their triple captain this week. So yes, it could be the final big triple captain game week among our experts. Of course, Game Week 37 is also going to be a triple captain opportunity, but certainly I think this will be the biggest triple captain opportunity, well, among our experts between now and the end of the season. 3% are using the chip, 2% on Palmer, 1% on Son. So if you do have that chip, you're not using any other chips this game week, maybe you could consider using the triple captain now, particularly if you also plan on playing a different chip in Game Week 37. It's a good opportunity. Palmer, I like in particular for a triple captain. He's been reliable all season, and he's going to be reliable once again. So speaking of chips, I want to have a look here at what chips our experts have remaining, because we asked them as a bonus question for this game week, experts, which chips do you have left? And we can see that 2% still have their wild card that they plan to use beyond Game Week 35. Well, it's pretty crazy, really. Game Week 36, 37, and 38, the last 3 game weeks of the season, so it doesn't seem like a long time to be using the wildcard chip, but a couple of our experts are still hanging on to it. But I'm sure they've got great plans to use that chip, maybe trying to put their wildcard a bit closer to their bench boost potentially there. Of course, we have got 77% of our experts who still have the bench boost chip ready to go for Game Week 37. Pretty much all of them are saying they're going to be playing it on Game Week 37, which is yeah, not really too surprising for me. I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm sure a lot of you guys are as well. 10% still have their free hit chip, and they'll be looking to use their free hit in Game Week 37. Again, nice opportunity there. Could the free hit in 37 beat the bench boosters in 37? I don't know. I guess that remains to be seen. And we have got 3% still have their triple captain. I imagine that will be used in Game Week 37 again. That is the final big week after this week for using those chips. So, yeah, I'm sure a lot of them will be used then. But just to give you a rough idea here, guys, 9% of our experts have no chips remaining after Game Week 35. 89% have one chip remaining. Of course, we know the majority of which will just have the bench boost left. And 2 of our experts have 2 chips remaining, which gives us an average among our 100 experts this week of 0.93 chips remaining. So, guys, if you have just 1 chip left in your back pocket, well, technically, you have got more chips than the average expert. Hey, that's pretty nice indeed, guys. Of course, if you have more than that or less than that, it doesn't matter. I'm sure you guys have all got decent plans tracking along this season, but just wanted to put that information out there. Bench boost is the big chip that everyone seems to have left, and they're going to be using it in Game Week 37, so beware of that one. And that's going to conclude today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure you drop a like. Do subscribe if you're new around here as well, and don't forget to check out Fan Prints, link in the description at the top or the pinned comment, and check out some of the great FPL prizes, forfeits, and of course gifts that I think are absolutely great. I mean, I'm going to be picking up a few more bits myself. I've already got a few bits from the website, even though, like, you know, it's my website, but I just love the stuff we're putting out there. So yeah, I appreciate you guys checking that out, and check out another video if you would like to. And aside from that, I will see you later, mates. Bye bye.